Good evening and honourable welcome to the inscrutable Orient for a beguiling taste of Eastern promise. We're in Tokyo, in fact, in the Nippon Budokan Hall in the gardens just next door to the Grand Imperial Palace in Tokyo, which is in fact the sort of Royal Albert Hall of the mystic Orient, and about 1,000,000 miles from Hammersmith Palais. Well, this is the exotic setting for the 1982 World Dance Championships, and in the next 50 minutes we're going to be treated to a bewildering variety of dance styles in which East will meet West on this vast ballroom floor. And right now the kimonos of Japan give way to the paraphernalia of the Occident and the contrasting rhythms of this, the modern jazz ballet group. Fast and furious tap routine there in front of this vast audience of some 15,000 people packed into this enormous arena. Well, we're going to have some more traditional music for you now from some dancers on their home territory. But do remember, our dancers, they've travelled here some 17,000 miles to take part in the championships, which, as you can see, promise to be a most colourful and exciting event. Let's, before it all starts, take a look at our dancers relaxing over lunch, discussing tactics in mufti before they put their party clothes on. And that's Vicky Barr, the current British champion, and she's seated at lunch alongside her husband, Michael, in somewhat pensive mood there. A long way from home, David Sycamore and Denise Weavers. And with them at the table too are Sammy and Shirley Stopford from Manchester. Obviously a very enjoyable lunch, and I think by the look of their faces, the pudding's just arrived. From the ballroom department there is Lindsay Tate, tucking in, and her partner Stephen Hillier sitting with Gaynor Fairweather, the Scottish Latin champion. And Gaynor, of course, you may have seen her recently on BBC One television helping to train Chris Searle in the In at a Deep End programme, and her partner sitting there is Donnie Burns. Meanwhile, back in the hall, the dancers in the championships, they're parading into the arena right now, which is a very good point to bring in my expert in these matters, Peggy Spencer.
And there we see, in a most attractive black and white outfit, David Sycamore and Denise Weavers, our number 2 representatives. Sammy and Shirley Stopford, our number 1 representatives. From Scotland, Donnie Burns and Gaynor Fairweather. Stephen Hillier and Lindsay Tate, our number 2 representatives in the ballroom section. And our British champions, Michael and Vicky Barr. Other friends from Denmark, Hans and Anne Laxholm, and from Norway, the Latin champions, the Solbergs.
A man who takes a very active interest in the ballroom scene as Japan is the Crown Prince Mikasa, who you may remember was a guest at the Carl Allen Awards in London just a couple of years ago. Well, on we move now into the actual championships themselves, and just a little peep at the semi-finals of the Latin American World Championships. Now, this is a 2-day event, so for obvious reasons we can only show you snippets of the dancing. But taking part are couples from Great Britain, from France, from Japan, Norway, Australia, the United States of America, also couples from Scotland, from Great Britain, Canada, Germany, and Norway.
After competing in 2 rounds already, we are very proud to have our 2 British representatives in the semi-final, in addition to Donnie and Gaynor for Scotland.
a sonic sample of the Latin American semi-finalists there. Obviously, we can't show you more. Well, which six have moved on to the final? Let's listen to Tokyo Rose now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now announce the 6 runners-up of the 1982 Latin Section World Professional Ballroom Dancing Championships. Number 4, David Sycamore and Dennis Weavers, Great Britain. Number 11, Hisashi and Yumiko Ishihara, Japan. Number 14, Aspen and Sestin Selberg, Norway.
Number 23, Danny Burns to Gaynor Fairweather, Scotland.
Number 23, Johnny Burns and Gaynor Fairweather, Scotland.
Number 26, Sammy to Shirley Stafford, English.
Number 26, Sammy and Shirley Stopford, Great Britain.
そして決勝進出最後の方です。ナンバー33、オイゲン・フリッツとユータ・ストライシャー、西ドイツ。
Number 33, Jürgen Fritz and Jutta Streicher, Germany.
There's the finalist, Peggy. Are you happy with that so far?
More than happy with it, and having watched their powerful and very, very polished performance in that semi-final, I'm confident that we're going to do well.
Johnny Burns and Gaynor Fairweather taking a little break before the next part of this final Latin competition. We're going to be seeing the rumba, the paso doble and the jive. We start off though with the music of the cha-cha-cha. Peggy, what do you think of the general standard so far?
I think our dancers particularly have danced absolutely brilliantly, but then they should, because they work so hard through the year, rehearsing every hour of every possible day to be ready for the honour of dancing in a world championship. So nothing must go wrong. They must really dance at their absolute best.
Charlie Burns and Gaynor Fairweather looking very happy there once again, as the dancers prepare now to move forward into the Rumba. And there's a confident little thumbs up there from Sammy and Shirley Stopford. Peggy, could I just ask you, do the dancers create new moves for a world championship like this?
Oh yes, they do, because the World Championship sets the pattern for the rest of the year's dancing, so each couple will try to find new ideas, new movements within the character of the dance, and something extra special to show the judges that's perhaps their very own.
Do you think the dancers are particularly creative this year?
I do, and I think I've been most impressed by the very relaxed atmosphere. Every couple smiling, dancing very relaxed, no kind of frightened or overwhelmed by the occasion atmosphere. I think that they have been most relaxed and very happy looking.
And of course our dancers travelled many thousands of miles to be here, but it must be a lot easier for the Japanese couple. There they are, couple number 11. Are they really a threat to our dancers, do you think?
No, they're not a threat to our dancers tonight. I don't think our dancers have danced very much better than the Japanese couple, but then the Japanese couples visit us a great deal for training under our Latin and ballroom experts.
There's Sammy and Shirley Stopford. Moving on now to the next dance, which is the Paso Doble. Interesting how Western sounding and familiar it is to our ears. This music being created here in Tokyo, in Japan. Now, Peggy, let's concentrate for a moment on Shirley and Sammy Stopford there.
They're dancing a powerful, very well rehearsed routine showing the true character of this wonderful Paso Doble music. And I understand they have one or two little surprises for us, so let's watch their performance and see if we can spot any new steps.
And there seems to be a pretty strong challenge here from the Solbergs, Peggy, doesn't there?
Yes, and he's wearing a matador type outfit, and they also have some new types of movements to show us, although their choreography is very much based on many authentic steps.
And now we move on to the final dance of these Latin American finals, and that's going to be the jive. And again, it'd be nice to just sit back and watch the exuberant choreography of the best 12 Latin American dancers in the world. On the cheek there from Donny DeGainer and also from Sally and Shirley as well. And we see the Solbergs looking rather pensive. But of course, while they were in Japan, it wasn't all work and no play. They did take a day off and did a spot of When in Rome, Do as the Romans Do, a bit of photographic sightseeing. And they took a day out to the Kigon Falls, some 100 miles outside of Tokyo, one of Japan's most famous beauty spots. Also there, a tribe of exuberant Japanese school children waving like Billy-O at the Brits. I suppose we all look alike to Japanese school children, don't we? Magnificent falls indeed. And a couple of minutes larking about with the children.
Get off the house!
Take the photo then.
Take a photo.
Like that. Can I take your photo?
Photograph?
Yes. Smile. Konnichiwa. Oh, you're a star.
I think he knows he's a star as well, doesn't he? Yes, the Kigon Falls there, and they're just a couple of minutes drive away from one of Japan's most sacred shrines, the Nikko Tesshugo Shrine. You can see the beautiful autumnal colors. Very similar seasons to us here in Great Britain they have in Japan. Lots and lots of tourists flock to this place. As I say, one of the most sacred parts of Japan. Our weary travelers, halfway round the world, intrepidly mounting the steps, establishing base camp on the first floor. Hardly making it, Denise and Lindsay there, a little weary at all this sightseeing. Some beautiful carving over the entrance to the gateway there, and including an elephant which was carved before elephants were even known in Japan, which probably accounts for the fact it's got two tusks on the wrong side of its head. And in they go into the central courtyard. Interesting to remember, it's only in recent years that these buildings have been open to the general public. In fact, there were very restricted areas for many, many centuries. And there's Stephen and Lindsay trying their hand at spending a little bit of money. Of course, these dancers spend most of their time out of England, and so there's quite a little bit of souvenir hunting to be done, and the odd little knick-knack to send back to Auntie Mabel at home.
There's something to take home, isn't it?
I'm sure one thing all the dancers will take back to England with them will be some marvellous memories of this splendid experience here in Japan. And outside in the grounds, there's Michael and Vicky Barr, taking an admiring look at the traditional three monkeys, our old friends. Hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. And they're mounting guard over the stable door. There's an old Japanese belief that the monkey has the power to protect horses from epidemics. And who am I to doubt it? Glorious buildings in splendid surroundings. Japan's most sacred shrine. Well, we're going to move back now into Tokyo and into the competition itself as we move on with the semi-finals of the Ballroom Championships. And through to the semi-finals are couples from the United States, from Germany, from Australia, and two couples representing Great Britain then. And in front of their home crowd, Japanese couple, also dancers from Germany, from Canada, Australia, Norway, Japan, and also Denmark.
And no surprises for us there. We would expect Stephen and Lindsay and Michael and Vicky to be in this semi-final.
So the competition gets underway then, the semi-finals of the Ballroom Championships. First of all, it's the tango.
Tango.
Smashing shot there of Stephen Hillier and Lindsay Tate. They seem remarkably at home here in Tokyo. It must be awfully difficult, Peggy, for them dancing on a strange floor in front of an orchestra they've never danced to before.
Not for such experienced dancers as Stephen and Lindsay. They have danced in so many championship finals, and all these couples, in fact, are so well rehearsed. They have studied every beat, every bar, every heel, every toe of their performance for a world championship.
And I notice also that the dancing in this one seems, without being unkind, rather more rigid than the dancing in the Latin American. Not quite so free in some ways, is it?
Well, if you're using rigid in the sense of technique, yes, you see two bodies have got to dance close together in ballroom dancing, and that naturally brings in its restriction because the girl must follow exactly what the boy leads. Whereas in Latin American, sometimes they're apart and the girl can improvise a little, but not in ballroom dancing.
And that's the end of the dancing, so let's quickly move on now to see who exactly is going to go forward into the finals. Here's Tokyo Rose Bowl.
The 6 places are number 2, Werner and Ingrid Brewer, Germany. Number 12, Michael and Vicky Barr, Great Britain.
Kazuo to Tomomi Sakuramoto, Nippon.
Number 19, Kazuo and Tomomi Sakuramoto, Japan. Stephen Hillier and Lindsay Tate, Great Britain. Number 35, Isao and Eiko Nakagawa, Japan. Number 37, Hamden and Lasso, Denmark.
Okay then, there are the couples taking part in the finals of the Ballroom Championships. So let's sit back and watch them in action in this, the first dance, which is the waltz. must say, for the World Championships, it's all remarkably relaxed and even restrained from the audience there. We're going to move on now into the tango. There's Hansen and Laxholm, couple number 37. They've got off to a pretty good start, Peggy, haven't they?
They certainly have, but recently they have been showing very, very good form. They're resident in this country and train in Great Britain, so they're working very hard to challenge Michael and Vicky.
And of course the Japanese must be overwhelmed to have two couples in the final.
Yes, that's a fantastic achievement to have two Japanese couples in the final. Watching them in the semi-final, I thought it was quite justified. They seemed to dance extremely well, and of course they would obviously have put in an awful lot of extra practice and extra rehearsal to appear in front of their own crowd and try to do well.
And there's Michael and Vicky Barr carrying the hopes of Britain on their shoulders.
Dancing very controlled, quite relaxed and looking very happy for Michael, actually.
A glimpse of Stephen and Lindsay there.
Yes, I thought Stephen and Lindsay too had danced very relaxed. Stephen always seems totally immersed in his dancing. He doesn't seem to be aware of what's going on around him. He's just totally concentrating on what he's doing.
Dance in this sequence is, of course, a Viennese waltz, a slight paradox in a way, something so quintessentially European being done so well in the midst of the mystic Orient. Just a couple more dances to go now in these World Ballroom Dancing Championships. Michael mopping his fevered brow there.
Foxtrot.
A little giggle from Hansen and Laxholm. This is the foxtrot, as the lady said. Now, Peggy, what do you think the general standard of the dancing and the competition and the atmosphere has been over these 2 days?
Well, it seems to have been a very well-organised competition, and that then helps the competitors to dance their best. The music, I thought, particularly for the ballroom section with the lovely violins, was traditionally ballroom. The tempo, as laid down by the International Council, the number of bars per minute that the dancers dance, helps them to do their absolute best. And of course the adjudicators are nominated by each country, and so the judges have the highest possible knowledge to give them the capability of judging such a high standard of dancing.
So World Championships in every sense, and they're normally held in different countries, Peggy, aren't they?
That's right. It's a traditional thing that a different country holds the World Championships each year to A, give the look of the championships to their particular country, and to B, give the opportunity of the dancers to travel to different countries to compete.
Beautiful orchestral sounds there, as Peggy was saying, here in Tokyo in Japan. So on we go then. This time it's the last dance in the World Ballroom Dancing Championships. Well, I think whoever turns out to be the winner of this World Ballroom Dancing Championship here in Tokyo tonight, I think congratulations should go to all the dancers who've taken part. A couple of grueling 18-hour days for all of them. And while the judges are working out their positions on that one, let's take a look now at the previous day's competition, the results of the world's Latin American Dancing Championships.
Sixth runners-up are
number 33オイゲン・フリッツとユータ・ストライシャー西ドイツです。
number 33, Jürgen Fritz and Ute Streicher, Germany. The fifth runner-ups are
number 11久志と由美子石原日本。
number 11, Hisashi and Yumiko Ishihara, Japan. The fourth runners-up are number 23, Donnie Burns and Gaynor Fairweather, Scotland.
You surprised by that result, Peggy?
Not surprised at all. If I'd been judging, that would have been my placing for them.
The third runners-up are
number 4デビッド・サイカモアとデニス・ウィーバーズ、イ
number
ギリス。
4, David Sycamore and Dennis Weavers, Great Britain.
This couple had danced brilliantly and I think looked very good too. They're beautiful outfits. They really danced to win.
Second place,
number 26サミーとシャーリー・ストッフォード、
number
イギリ
26,
ス。
Sammy and Shirley Stockford, Great Britain.
So kisses all round there, Peggy.
Yes, and Sammy and Shirley must be highly delighted to come second in a World Championship. We are very proud of them.
And the winners of the 1982 Latin American World Professional Ballroom Dancing Championships are
Number 14, Espanto, Sistin Salberg, Norway.
number 14, Espen and Kristin Selberg, Norway. Congratulations.
So, a happy result, I think, for everyone, Peggy.
Yes, I think so, and I think that this couple deserve their world place. They have studied the Latin American dancing very thoroughly. Congratulations to them, and a wonderful night for Norway.
A little emotion for the winners, an awe-inspiring occasion in this vast hall in front of, as I say, some 15,000 people. And the Crown Prince Mikasa, comes forward to greet all the dancers, especially the winners, shakes them warmly by the hand, and he presents them now with his own, the Mikasa Cup, a man with a tremendous interest in ballroom dancing himself. And so we move on to the next day's result, the result of the Modern Championships, and again, I hand over to my friend Tokyo Rose with the results.
6th place.
第6位、35番、イサオとエイコ中川、日本。
Couple number 35, Isao and Eiko Nakagawa, Japan.
Yes, local couple make good there, Peggy.
And not only make good, they are 6th in a World Championship, and that's really something.
2番、バーナーとイングリッド・フーラー、西ドイツ。
Couple number 2, Werner and Ingrid Führer, Germany.
Is that a surprise for you, Peggy?
Not really. The Führers have been dancing very well. I imagine they probably would have hoped to have come higher, but 5th in a World Championships is very good.
ハンスとアンヌ・ラクスポン、デンマーク。
Couple number 37, Hansen and Laxholm, Denmark.
So they're well in there, up amongst the best in the world.
I imagine they're very happy to come at this position in a World Championship. They're a lovely couple, and will gradually get higher and
3rd
higher.
place.
23番、ステファン・ヒリア、リンゼイ、ヘイ、イギリス。
Number 23, Stephen Hillier and Lindsay Tate, Great Britain.
Slightly disappointed Stephen and Lindsay, I imagine. They danced very well and must have hoped that they could come second. But however, 3rd is a very good place in a World Championship.
2nd place, Katsuro and Tomomi Sakuramoto, Japan.
What a wonderful moment for Japan to have one of their couples second in the World Championships. I imagine the whole of Japan will celebrate that, as will the couple themselves. Congratulations.
$12番、マイケルとベッキー、イギリス。
And the winners of the 1982 World Professional Ballroom Dancing Championships, couples number 12, Michael and Vicky Barr, Great Britain.
How proud we are of Michael and Vicky, world ballroom champions, and they bring back to Britain a gold medal in Olympic language. Congratulations. Well done.
So all in all, for Great Britain and our dancers, Peggy, a pretty good couple of days' work, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. To have 5 couples, won a gold in world finals is something to be proud of.
And Michael raises the cup very proudly in front of this vast audience here in the stadium in Tokyo, and a coy little wave to the crowd.
Okay, after all that excitement out there,
thousands and thousands of miles away. Michael and Vicky now safely back home here in Chalfont, St. Peter. It's a long, long flight, that. How did that affect you at all, going out there particularly?
Well, going out, I think, was quite good on this occasion. I think we both felt pretty fit and strong when the event occurred. Coming back, I think we travelled less well. Felt absolutely shattered when we came home. But fortunately, I think we were pretty fit in readiness for the event, and felt quite good.
Yes, it didn't affect us so much as we'd expected it might. But the journey home was pretty awful because we came from Osaka, not from Tokyo, and we had a day's journey on the bullet train virtually before we started the flight, so we were completely exhausted before the journey ever started.
It's a good job that didn't happen on the way out.
It is a good job.
You've almost been commuting to Japan over the last couple of years, haven't you?
Well, not exactly. It was our fourth visit. We were lucky enough to go in 1977, also for a World Championship, and since then we're asked to do a tour on 2 subsequent years, so it was our fourth visit altogether.
Of course, the Japanese themselves are coming on very strong in the world of dancing, aren't they? And of course, going over there to compete in front of a home audience, I mean, the pressure this year on you must have been quite intense. Did that make a difference to you?
Yes, I would say so. Obviously, as you rightly say, Japan now is one of the strongest nations in the world. They have fantastic dedication and hard work, I think, in many spheres, and particularly in ballroom dancing. And as you say, the Japanese couples with a home crowd behind them obviously put on a tremendous challenge.
And without jet lag.
And without jet lag.
And looking at the recording that we've seen coming back, it obviously was a very well-organised competition, wasn't it?
Oh, fantastic. Marvellous, yes.
Yeah. I think the Japanese are renowned for that now, aren't they? 15,000 people on 2 consecutive evenings.
Yeah. Who in fact organised it then, Vicky? Was it the Japanese television people or what?
No, it's the Japanese dancers themselves, the Nippon League of Competitive Ballroom Dancers, I think they're called.
That's right.
They have marvellous cooperation within Japan. People from all over Japan, Tokyo and Osaka, everywhere, they all come together and organise the events, and really marvellous.
Vicky, the general standard of dancing year by year seems to improve immeasurably. Now, it's something to do with, there's 2 couples representing each country going forward to the World Championships, aren't there?
That's correct, yes. Each country is allowed to send their top 2 representatives.
And how has that, over the years, improved the standard of dancing then?
Well, it hasn't improved the standard directly, but whereas in the past there were only 2 or 3 nations that could produce 2 world-class couples, that is now no longer the case, so that many nations can produce a number of world-class couples, so that the overall strength of the field in an international event such as this is much greater.
So it makes your achievement over there in Tokyo a really remarkable one. Many congratulations once again, Michael and Vicky Barr. Let's relive that moment of triumph in Tokyo. end of a splendid competition for Great Britain leading up to the success of Michael and Vicky Barr. Interesting, Peggy, just to see how the judges marked them. Let's have a look at that, shall we?
Yes, the marking system is known as the skating system. 1 is the highest mark and 6 is the lowest. In other words, 1 represents first. And we can see here that all the judges, except for 2 in the Viennese waltz, were marking Michael and Vicky first.
And thanks once again, Peggy, for all your help on the broadcast tonight. Next time, no jumbo jet to the Far East, the slightly less exotic